Tonight's topic is all about Cocoplum. And a dear friend of mine said, Lindley, cut to the chase. So I'm starting with dessert. I'm starting with the best part of this Cocoplum update. Are you ready for this? I am going to share with you, what's the cost of entry to get into Cocoplum? You ready for this? Okay. In 2020, the home that sold, let me say this again. In 2020, the lowest priced home that sold for $1.4 million. In 2021, the home that sold for the lowest price in Cocoplum sold for $2.15 million. In 2022, the home that sold for the lowest price in Cocoplum sold for $3.37 million, and that was in January. Currently, the home that is priced the lowest that's on the market is listed for $4.5 million, and the lowest price pending listing is listed for $4.4 million. If you want to just stop right there and not listen to anything else, that's enough to tell you what's happening in Cocoplum. We went from the price of entry in 2020 being $1.4 million to this year being almost $3.5 million. Holy cow. Okay, so Cocoplum is the biggest gated community in Coral Gables. There's about 450 houses behind the gate, and a little less than half of those are on the water. So looking at Cocoplum, you kind of have to divide this one between houses on the water and houses not on the water, because if you're on the water, you have, substantial more valuable home than if you don't. So I can't just give you a price per square foot in Cocoplum, because everybody's going to want to know, well, how many were waterfront and how many weren't? And the other thing I'm going to mention is, because the data pool is so small, we're talking about a small number of closed sales, it's just harder to generalize Cocoplum, because if a bunch of homes sold in any given year that were new or that were really updated, but we only had 15 sales, then obviously our numbers are going to be skewed. So I give this update with a little grain of salt and just a disclaimer, these numbers are important and we obviously see growth in value, but our data pool is small. It's not like Palmetto Bay where we have hundreds of sales. It's 15 sales. 20 sales. Okay, so Cocoplum, like I said, there's two areas of Cocoplum, phase 1 and phase 2, and then there's the private section, Tahiti Beach, which is a private island of 27 homes. So we've had sales on Tahiti Beach every year, so they're factored into these numbers. Most of the homes on Tahiti Beach are waterfront, but some aren't. So all of it's mixed together. The phase 1, phase 2, and Tahiti Beach. The way I've divided it is waterfront or non-waterfront. All right, so right now, there's 10 houses on the market in Cocoplum. 8 of them in Cocoplum and 2 on Tahiti Beach. Of those 10, 4 are on the water and 6 are dry, which is really about the breakdown of all the houses in Cocoplum. I'd say it's 40% water, 60% dry. Like I said, the listings range from 4.5 million all the way up to 20 million. And the Tahiti Beach properties are listed for 12.5 million. That's a dry lot. And 35 million. So Tahiti Beach values are a lot higher than other parts of Cocoplum. We've had 15 sales so far this year. Half on the water, half not. The non-waterfront price per square foot, is this right? Yeah. Non-waterfront, average price per square foot, $990. The waterfront average price per square foot this year, $1,150 per square foot average. There haven't been any closings in September, and there was only one closing in August and one in July. So those 15 sales happened at the beginning of the year, and we've only had 2 closings in the last 3 months. Now, I did mention we have 2 homes currently pending sale. So there will be 2 closings soon. I don't know exactly when those are going to close, but those were listed for $4.4 million and $5.3 million, both of which are not on the water. So there's nothing pending right now on the water. Okay. If we go back to 2021 and look at the same time period, so January to the middle of October, we had 43 sales last year compared to 15 this year. So we had almost 3 times as many sales in Cocoplum last year as we do this year. That's significant. 2 of the 43 last year were on Tahiti Beach. And again, it was like half and half. Half of those sales were waterfront and half were not. The average price per square foot last year, non-waterfront, $620. Waterfront, $870. So you see a difference. $870 last year, $1,150 this year. $620 non-waterfront last year, $990 this year. Now, if we go back another year and we look at 2020, there were only 18 sales in this time period in 2020. So beginning of January to middle of October, 2020, 18 sales. Much more like this year when we've had 15. 4 of the 18 in 2020 were on Tahiti Beach. The average price per square foot for a non-waterfront home in 2020 was $410. So the average now is double. I remind you, the data pool for this is little. We're talking about 15 sales and 18 sales. So we have to take that into account. The data pool is little. A really great updated house could skew the numbers, or a house that maybe sold for land value could skew the numbers. The average price per square foot for a waterfront home in 2020 was $830. So I think the most interesting part of this Cocoplum deep dive is looking at that price of entry. Like in 2020, you could get into this neighborhood at the lowest level. What did I say? 1.4 million. This year, January was the lowest level at 3.37. And the least expensive house on the market right now is listed for $4.5 million. So what a change, what a value change as far as the point of entry into Cocoplum. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you feel a little bit smarter than when you came on. I know I do. I learned something with every one of these market updates that I'm doing. I've been loving it. And that's it for Cocoplum. If you know anybody that lives in Cocoplum, I think they'd find this pretty interesting. I encourage you to share it with them, tag them on the post, send it to them, whatever. And I'll be back tomorrow with another one. See you then. Hopefully it won't be midnight tomorrow, but you never know. It might just be. Good night.